today about the difference between red and black in playing card reading, because a lot of you are learning to read playing cards right now. A lot of you are learning to deepen your understanding of playing cards, and I myself am always looking for other deeper understanding of a tool that I'm using, if it can make things easier, more effective, more practical, or simpler. We as humans like to have a definite answer, yes or no, and a lot of times when people consult an oracle, I mean myself included, I'm not different here. We want a yes or no answer. It's really tricky to get a yes or no answer with cards or with oracles, and a lot of times we devise all sorts of methods to make a definite to make something definite that isn't maybe necessarily so definite. So in playing card, there's some schools like to say that if you get a red card or a certain amount of predominance of red cards, then the answer is yes. If there's a predominance of black cards, the answer is no. But that here's something to consider with that. If we make a blanket judgment that red cards are positives and black cards are negatives, then we sort of miss the opportunities here present in one or the other. So for example, let's say that you've got an overabundance of a red card, for example, the nine of hearts. Okay, nines are traditionally a number that has to do with having to get out of the way, having to let go of attachment to something. The 9 becomes a powerful card, or a powerful indicator of something happening when we are able to get ourselves out of the way, let go, and let whatever the situation is sort of flow through us. So think about it this way. If you're going down in a whitewater rafting trip and you cling too tightly, you may actually find yourself being tossed out of the boat, whereas if you move with the water and you don't cling so much, it's often easier to ride with it. Same thing like with horse riding or something that in which you need to go with it. If you cling too tightly, you can go with it. If you let go, relax, and move with it, then you're likely to get a more enjoyable experience and a probably more satisfactory outcome. So 9 is traditionally known as the wish fulfiller, or 9 of hearts. Okay, but a lot of you who read playing cards know that 9s have to do with, or hearts have to do with emotions, right? So a 9 can be a lot or a multitude of emotions, or a 10 can be a multitude of emotions, and we can say, okay, well, it's the wish card. It always is going to indicate yes, or a positive. But what if there's an overabundance of emotion that's clouding a situation? A 9 could also indicate that. Maybe if you let the wish flow through you and don't cling too tightly to what it is you wish, then the wish can come true. But if you cling too tightly to an outcome, sometimes we get in the way of whatever it is that's trying to come into being, or that we've asked for, that we wished for. So this is a good example of when maybe it's not so black or in red. Okay, so if we take that concept and we move it into all the other cards, the 10 of spades is usually considered a negative card. A lot of turmoil, a lot of sadness, a lot of maybe negative energy coming through, right? But it can also be used to consider power. Maybe if we're not holding too tightly to an outcome, maybe power can emerge in us. Sometimes those moments where we have a lot of conflict, a lot of forces coming together, and it puts a great deal of pressure on it, those are the times maybe when the piece of coal can become a diamond, you see? So maybe in this situation we get 2 red cards and a black, okay? And we go, well, it's definitely a yes. Well, maybe what it's telling us in this case, the message is not so much a yes, but maybe it's a, well, if we are receptive and we are aware of those energies that are immature in us, which is often represented by the Jack, and we represent that the wish is not the end itself, but just a moment in time or something we're passing through, we can use the forces at play here to develop a greater amount of power, as opposed to yes or no. Then we get a little deeper understanding maybe of what's going on in the situation, rather than a superficial yes or no. So remember, as you're going forward with these, that it's rarely as cut and dry as yes or no, right or wrong. That's one way to look at life, but remember that the energies present can always be looked at to gain a deeper understanding, and can always be looked at to get a sort of process of how we can negotiate a situation. So, for example, let's say someone said, is my lover coming back? Okay, and we get this. Okay, maybe this could be the lover, this could be the wish, and this could be the answer that was no. Okay, this might tell me in this situation that someone is clinging very strongly to this wish, and they're not seeing the power that could develop on their own if they stop clinging to that person. Now, isn't that a little more empowering bit of information than yes or no, the individual is coming back? Or maybe we might read it, the individual may be coming back, and you may say that's a yes, and that's really what you want. But it may say that the energy between the you two is blocking the real wish that you have in the situation, which is to develop and not be so immature in the situation. You're clinging to the other individual rather than developing your own power and becoming something that's independent, can stand on its own, and can handle whatever comes at it. Because sometimes this card can be used as a defense card or as something that you throw up to defend yourself against harm. So maybe learning to be able to develop that power where you can handle whatever comes your way and throw up your own abilities to stop harm is being blocked by the fact that you're clinging to this ex-lover. And that, yes, this individual may be coming back into your life, but the 10 is telling you, is that the best thing for you? So it's just something to consider as you move forward, that maybe red is good, black is bad, is not the most empowering way, or not the most practical way to read the cards. And maybe, just maybe, there is more complexity to each, and that each tells us a little more finely and a little more practically what we can do to really get what it is that we want. But then in that situation, you have to be willing to ask yourself, what is it that you're really looking for? What is it that the person getting the reading really wants? And what is it that can, in the long run, create the greater victory? It's just something to consider.